Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we are back today for another recap. We are talking The Shy. This is season 6, episode 15, titled Tower of Terror. But before we get into the episode, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click that notification bell so you get alerted every time we post. Now we got the housekeeping out the way. Let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. I think we want to start with Duda because, man, he is stirring up some mess in The Shy. So it's obviously, holiday time, Thanksgiving. Everybody's getting into the Thanksgiving mood. But Roz is also in town. We seen her last episode, and it's kind of like, okay, she just popping back in, and I guess she's seeing what's going on with Duda. But this week, she warned him. And she was like, you just killed somebody else. You killed Alonzo. So obviously that's going to, disrupt the peace in the community or whatever. And so she's saying that things are too calm, though. And she's like, I feel like, this is the calm before the storm. Like something is really brewing up. And she also said that he needed to send a message to the community. Like, Duda obviously accepts the dangers that comes along with this role, and he's prepared for all the smoke, apparently. But Ross told him, like, nah, you still need to send a message because I feel like something's up. So with all that Duda has going on, how are you feeling about this message that Roz is giving him? Like, you need to send a message to the community. What do you guys think?
Okay, there's a message and then there's a message. This went a little beyond messaging to me because if Keisha and the baby have been in the car, that's beyond message. You just got another body, and not just another body. You got a baby and you got Keisha, who really you don't have a beef with. So with Roz telling him to send a message, I think Duda is a little out of sorts. I think he went too far with that message.
Yeah, that was overkill.
Way overkill.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead, Tiff.
No, I was just going to say, I was just going to repeat what I said to y'all offline about what it reminded me of when Roz told him to send a message. It was quiet. I was saying it reminded me of, power. Like when Tasha told Ghost to send a message and when she told him to send the body parts and everything when his crews were getting hit. So it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Roz also went over and spoke to Bianca too, and she was like, Duda's in trouble, and basically saying like, if we go down, you going down too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm like, Roz is really setting up. She's playing a lot of defense right now, and I'm like, I know that her and Duda's relationship is one of business and convenience. But it just seems to me like she's trying to get ahead of a lot of stuff that hasn't really even happened yet. And I was like, was that a wrong move on her part? Because like her implications could have gotten Keisha and the baby killed.
What I don't understand about Roz is just like you said, they have this relationship on convenience. It's about convenience and whatever else they got. Power. But then you go and you talk to Bianca,
mm-hmm.
and you let her know that you the head, something in charge, and you the wife.
And you will always be the wife,
you will
right?
always be the wife. So I'm like, okay, now you want to go wife side when everything else is transitional side. So I'm confused. What are you? Are y'all husband and wife, or is this a business rap? So what is it?
And it's both. It's both. As I see, even though it is business, I still felt like there was a tenderness between them. Like the way she was helping him with his suit, put his suit on and stuff, and the way she was like, caressing his shoulders and stuff like that. And he kissed her forehead, and he listens to her when she talks too. Like he's like, it's a certain level of respect that he affords her. Like he does value her opinion and things like that. So there is, I know it's business, but there is a certain level of tenderness between them two.
Yeah. It just seems like, I don't know. I was just a little disappointed in Roz because of the outcome of that situation. I'm like, dang, she could have really got somebody hurt. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it doesn't help that she's got her boo Serena out here, you know, shooting at stalkers and stuff.
I was going there next. I was just like, wait a minute.
Well, Serena had I don't know what was up with her. I mean, you know, because even though you're shooting at a guy you said was following you off of blocks, and that may or may not be the case, you know, you didn't hit him. So where'd those bullets go? You could have easily hit somebody else, you know, innocent bystander, any kind of thing. So I think that should let Roz know who you're really dealing with. But then again, I guess, you know.
Yeah, her and Serena cozied up real fast. And I'm like, the type of stuff that Roz is involved in requires discretion and good judgment. And I don't know if Serena is a good look for that. She acting like a liability right now.
That was some loose cannon stuff that she pulled in
the
middle of the street. I was like, what? Like, I mean, you know, from the previews, they showed that in the previews, and I thought that, you know, from the previews that she was playing defense or somebody was trying to attack them. But I was like, that's kind of crazy for her to just bust off like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use your term, Tiffany, out of pocket.
Yeah. She's out of pocket for sure.
Yeah. And so, like, a lot went down though this episode. I was kind of proud of Brittany for taking a stand with Duda, because she said, you know, I'm tired of spying on Bakari. I don't really have anything to give you anyway. And, you know, Bakari not the one you need to be looking at, you know. So we were talking about this, Ron and I, offline, because Ron was like, you know, well, this whole situation happened with Nook too. And I'm like, I'm thinking Brittany is the one that gave the information on Nook up, because next thing you know, Duda is beating him, pistol whipping him some more.
She did. She did. But when she first said it, I was like, you know, okay, she gave Nook up. I thought she was gonna give Zay up.
Me too. I did too. But Nook it seems like if she was gonna give somebody up, it had to be a real big fish. Because she was saying, like, if I tell you this, then I want to stop spying on Bakari. And he was like, well, it depends on what you say. And so she had to come correct. She couldn't just give up Zay being in the church doing some possible shady deal. I mean, we haven't even seen Zay's real, you know, the point of what he's doing yet. We kind of suspect what we think he's doing it for, but we haven't seen the outcome yet.
See, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I just think that Nook was the bigger fish in that scenario. She had to give some worthwhile information.
Yeah.
And what it brings to fruition here is now you got Nook. Nook got a beat down from Duda. He nearly lost his baby because of Duda. To me, it's a situation where Nook is going to be the one that takes the lights out, cuts the lights out on Duda, because
it got to be an inside man. It got to be him or Bakari. Him or Bakari.
I you know, I like to think it might be Bakari, but Bakari to me is a lot like Emmett. They kind of rush in. I think
it's an inexperience.
Yeah, it's that inexperience and the anger that they have, because they wear it on their sleeves. So I wouldn't suspect, well, not suspect. I would hope that it isn't a Bakari. If it has to be someone, I think it should be Nook.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm just saying Bakari. But it ain't like Bakari don't have bodies.
Oh no, he's got bodies.
I was going to say, like he took out your namesake. And I think
that was an easy
wasn't. I think he was already true to this, you know.
Yeah, that was
anyway.
I mean, you know, taking out my namesake didn't mean much to, you know. I mean,
but he was already known in the streets. Like even when he came up and stepped up and saved Jake and stuff. Like Bakari ain't no, he ain't green like Emmett. He's a soldier for Duda for a reason.
Yeah, but I think with what he's into now, and he's got a lot on his mind. He's trying to be a
He's trying to
different
change.
person. Yeah,
He turned around.
right. So
Now, I do think that once Nook finds out, excuse me, about what could have happened with the baby, that's gonna fire him up even more.
yeah.
And he kind of laid down with Duda because he was like, so how long I'm gonna be on the bench? And Duda was kind of like, until I can trust you again. And I'm like, it's never a good position to not be somebody that Duda trusts, because he might not have killed you now, but he still got his eye on you, and he can still just go off the hinge and just shoot you one day. So it's not a good idea to not be in his good graces, which is why I think Nook is aware. He's well aware of that probably, and I think he's just playing it cool for now.
And not to
But
mention,
once he gets that little piece of information about his son almost getting killed, it's a wrap.
and then not to mention, he lost his number 2 spot.
Yeah. So that's going to make a big difference too, because Zay got a little mouth on him, and he like to rub stuff in. So I feel like he's going to try to sun Nook.
Yeah.
Oh, he gonna get his little butt beat.
And I think, when Duda told Zay that he had the number 2 spot, and Zay was like, oh, well, it's a holiday or whatever. And Duda said, well, not for you. I was like, okay, so is he the one that went and set off that car bomb? Because we know Duda don't do his own dirty work. So if Nook finds out that Zay was the actual, the person to go ahead and do that, then that's gonna put Zay on Nook's radar too.
Yep.
That's
so
true.
I was like, this is gonna be a mess.
So that's true. So maybe Nook takes out Zay first before he takes out
that's a good point. Yep. That he could start there.
I could totally see that. And I'm just like, it's about to get hot in the Shy. I was thinking from another perspective too. Bakari got some bad news this episode. He was rejected by the publisher and told to continue writing the edits or whatnot. But I'm like, it seems like the fact that he has a publisher's interest.
Right.
Wow.
That's what I was going to say. It was bad, but it was good because it wasn't a straight rejection. Like I always live by the motto, like delayed but not denied. Exactly. So no can mean not right now for me. And so I looked at it, send back edits and comments and all that stuff. That's a good sign. It means I want to see this again.
Yeah.
And promising if you make edits. So it wasn't a straight rejection.
Right. The editor was just asking him to clean it up, and that's not a no. That just means, hey, I like what I read, but
that's a problem for Duda, because let him find out that this story, is coming to fruition, and it has some details on his shady dealings and whatnot in that storyline. It's gonna be a problem for Bakari. So I'm like, oh man, I'm really still worried about him. And now that, go ahead, Ron, because you look like you had something you wanted to add.
But what about Brittany? I mean,
I was gonna say,
okay, thinking alike, because I mean, theoretically, it could be Brittany that takes him out, and he definitely won't see that coming. I mean, for one thing, she had to sell out. No. She had to get the heat off her brother and give up somebody, so she did that. And I know she doesn't trust Duda. No one does. So she's just as much on Duda's radar as anybody else.
And she owed him money. I mean, she took a big paycheck from him and didn't really give anything about Bakari. I mean, the thing about Nook was big, so hopefully her debt is forgiven. But this is Duda we talking about.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I think the fact that she's trying to get back in Bakari's good graces is good for her, but she doesn't know that he's aware now of what she was doing with the spying on him. So Bakari really could be gunning for her, thinking like she's at his throat still.
He said, I ain't never talking. Oh no.
That's what he said.
And I thought that it was kind of messy of Gemma and Maisha to go and tell Lene, because they knew Lene wasn't going to keep that from him. Right. So I was like, if anything, they should have either gone directly to Bakari so that we're not playing the game of telephone and nothing gets lost in the details, because this is serious. Or they should have urged Brittany to go to him herself.
And Brittany told them not to tell. When she confessed to them, she did tell them not to say anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was Brittany's fault because clearly they can't hold water. But I just thought that it should have come either directly from Brittany or they should have gone directly to Bakari, because I'm just like, this is too serious of a matter to be frivolous with details. And, Lene didn't even tell him how, tell Bakari how she found out, which I was like, this is going to put a strain on everybody's relationship with Bakari.
But she promised them. Gemma and Maisha said, don't tell him we told you. So she didn't keep that secret. She told him, but she didn't disclose who told him.
Right.
Told her.
You know what? I'm glad she did say something. They did say something to her because, first of all, Bakari had to know. And I think that regardless of the outcomes, but I think he had to know. And I think that he had to be put on notice about just exactly what his sister is up to. Now,
I agree to an extent. I do agree that he should know. But then it's like, I think that being young, you're not thinking about the outcomes. You're not thinking about the possible consequences of what that information holds. Like Bakari, he was once a hothead, like a real hothead. He could really have just gone off on Brittany and done something erratic. He could have shot her, did anything. So it's like, I understand that you want him to be in the know, you want him to know what's going on, but that's a matter that should have been treated a little bit more delicately to me.
Well, he was a sister, because they were separated for so long. I can see him being extremely upset with her, but I don't see him taking her out. It's just the question now is, how does she get back into his good grace? And maybe getting rid of Duda is the way to go.
Yeah, she's gonna have to make a big show of loyalty.
Yeah, because he's done. Because first of all, he was already not trusting why she was back. He said, he was like, I wonder what she wants. Can I trust her? He said that a few episodes ago. So then to find out that she's been spying on him too, like that confirms the doubts that he was already having.
Yep. So I'm just like, wow, that's an interesting situation. Now, with Nina getting ready to leave town with LaPortia, I'm like, is this a good idea for Lene to have this house to herself? Bakari had already been in and out, sneaking in to sleep over there and stuff. And I'm like, you kind of giving this girl, I mean, I know she a fresh college student, so she is an adult, but that's a whole lot of freedom.
But let's get back to Nene now. You're going to just pack up and go?
You mean Nina?
I mean Nina. I call her Nene. She reminds me of a Nene. You just pack up and go, just because old girlfriend, she steps into your life after a while. She's already been a part. And then it's how she said it though. She doesn't hang around too long in one place. Really? I mean, at their age, you would think that they want some sort of stability, which he already has. But now she's saying, oh, well, we're just going to pick up and go. Well, they asked, where are you going to live? Oh, we're just going to go here and there. I think we called that hippies back in the day. It doesn't make sense to me.
It is a little wild for her to just pick up and go, but I do understand, like, you want to live your life at some point. Like, I feel like Nina she's had to be very responsible because she's had the kids, she had them young, and then like just trying to deal with all of the stuff with Keisha and her, being kidnapped and raped. Like, it's been a lot of heavy stuff on that family. And then on top of that, she's dealing with a recent, breakup. So it's kind of like, at some point, you got to do something for you. And I think now that it's a good opportunity for her to do something for her.
If you want to act like a kid, go on a Disney cruise. But you're not 20 years old to be just ripping and running. Okay, you're not that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, they didn't say
but
it
her
was a
kids are not little.
Say
Yeah.
what?
Her kids are not small, so she can, you know.
Do whatever you want to, but I mean, do it with some sense of you know, reverence. I just don't. That just.
I do think it's a bad the area where I'm making a judgment call on Nina is because you took in Lene as like an adopted child, and it can seem like you're abandoning her again. Like, we know that adopted children, like, it's a delicate situation. Some need more help and more guidance than others. And so to pick up and go hopping around the country, it might not be a good look for somebody in Lene's situation. Like, Lene does seem very stable. She seems very responsible, but she's still a young college student with no parental figures. So,
well, her brother's around, and he might have something to say about that. Like, you know, you got my sister living there, and then you bouncing around the country. And I'm still holding out hope. I still feel like Dre is coming back.
Yeah,
I do. I think Dre coming back.
Or could it be an opportunity for Lene's brother to live maybe there with her in Nina's absence? Because based on his conversation with Dom, he's homeless, technically living in a halfway house. So I was like, well, is this presenting an opportunity for, you know, him to go and stay at Nina's while she's gone with Lene?
Well, it makes sense if they, you know, if they plan that and plan ahead. But again, you know, with Nina and her girlfriend, what's her name?
LaPortia.
LaPortia. Who's going to pay for the trip? Because she doesn't seem like she got a lot of money on it. I'm just okay. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but
I don't know.
Wait, you know, you're hot. Okay, she never really defined what type of lifestyle they're going to be living. You know, it's one thing to get in your RV and just travel around the world. I mean, the countryside. You know, which they don't have. So, are you just hopping from state to state whenever the moment hits, or what exactly are you doing, and who's paying for this?
It's definitely a gamble. We're just gonna have to wait and see those details. And
yeah,
I mean, that's one that we can't really call.
It's just, I mean, that I don't know. Maybe I haven't lived enough to understand that kind of lifestyle, but I need more assurances than what two of them have come up with so far.
And, you know, I touched briefly on the situation with Lene's brother, but that conversation that he and Dom had in the restaurant about like the Black family and the financial expectations for a man versus the kind of sexual expectations for Black women. It was like, okay, I was like, dang, I appreciate Dom's honesty and her bluntness with him, but I was like, dang, that kind of stung a little bit.
But again, here you got Dom questioning what type of relationship she's looking for in a man, but you're dealing with him who just got out of jail. So if this is what you want, go after what you want. Why are you dealing with this guy?
She said, I'm tired of dealing with broke ninjas.
Exactly. So why are you? See, this is my point. So if this is what you're tired of, then go get what you want. It's
obvious that she's attracted to him, and I think she's used to acting off strictly attraction. Well, but now it seems like she's trying to shift her focus and be
then you know what? If that's
intentional about her men.
If that's your mentality, zip it. Don't complain.
I mean, but nobody has to stay the same. No, she can have growth.
No,
she can
we're not,
show
we're not talking about growth. No, he is in a stage where she says she's tired of. Now I know everybody can grow, but it's going to take him a little longer to grow because he's convicted felon. So let's assume that it's going to take him a whole lot longer to be where she says she wants a man to be. So my point is, why then are you dealing with this guy if this isn't the type of guy you want? Because all it's going to do is, if you do indeed meet that guy, you're just going to drop him, and it's going to be a whole nother issue. And this is, see, you know, Tiff, you were saying last on one of our other episodes, what men do. This is what some women do all the time. See, y'all want the rough guy, that rough neck looking guy, but that's not what you really want. And then you come up with, you know, a scenario where I don't know.
Well, listen, I think she's trying to play devil's advocate. Yeah, he's a felon and stuff, but he's starting over. He said he's saved now. Um, he's in a halfway house. He's working at the restaurant. So there's a start. So he's trying. So she's trying not to be judgmental and
But
stuff
you
and give him
were.
a chance. You
But she
don't want to.
was. She called him a broke, blah, blah, blah. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
she was, but she is still trying to. The fact that she even attempted to give him a chance to try to date him or whatever. I mean, I guess she's demonstrating that she's trying to look past his circumstances.
don't bring it up. You know, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Yeah,
don't.
no, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
I've been out of the game too long. So I guess things have changed.
Yeah, I want to see where that whole situation is going to go, because I think she is trying to be optimistic, but she also mentioned she was a little worried about being dogged by him too. Like, you could just hop on to the next thing in a few months, just like the rest of the men. So I think that they both have some history with bad experiences, and it's kind of hindering their current situation.
Listen, we saw hers. I mean, she went from Emmett,
Darnell.
and Darnell and stuff. Like
Yeah, I mean, you go from a young man to his father to now
exactly.
And then you got a right, and then you think you got a right to complain about having a brother that at least is attracted to you.
She's making some decisions. She's making some interesting decisions regarding these men.
Wow. Okay. So maybe I'm not too far off.
Yeah, well, now some questionable decisions in another relationship. This whole thing that Pastor Zeke and Tatiana got going on. They trying to invite their side pieces to Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm like, well, that can't ever be a good thing, And I'm like, Tatiana inviting Jake, this young boy. Now that's overstepping, girl. You got your side piece, keep them on the side. Don't be inviting them to functions where people are going to see them and question who they are and your association with them.
What kind of foolishness is this? Talking about they supposed to be the first lady and he's supposed to be a man of God. Like, what type of foolishness is this? Okay. At least it seems like it's bad enough because they said he and Sarah, Becky, they haven't acted on their feelings for each other. But it's just bad. Like, he hasn't, it sounds like he has made a relationship with her. Tatiana actually has been, and with teenage boys. Like, Jake ain't the first teenage boy, because he said your stable of boys, teenage boys. So I'm like, she a pill over there.
But see, now the question becomes: did Zeke actually ever have a relationship outside of his marriage? Because she was only bringing up whatever her name is, Sarah. She was only bringing up Sarah, and he said, well, we haven't gone there yet. So
he said he said he was getting to know her because he's trying to get to her father or build a relationship with her father. But she said, because she did look cozy with him. Sarah did look cozy. Like,
I'm not saying Sarah's not trying to cozy up with Zeke.
And I think both of them.
Well, Zeke did say that we both had these, thoughts.
Yes.
But, hey, having a thought and then actually look at what Tatiana's doing. I mean, it's kind of oranges and apples. But even for, because look, just because you're a pastor doesn't mean you can't think something. But the point is,
what the scripture say about if you think it, if it's already in your heart, you've already committed
that's
the sin. So yeah.
I still, Tatiana, I'm sorry.
Yeah, listen, Tatiana definitely deserved a hand. Both of them deserve the hands for supposed to be being.
But at least he was trying to clean
godly people and acting like this.
But I got to give him credit for trying to clean house. And essentially,
he did.
He said, "Hey, let's clean house." So at some point, there has to be a starting point.
Yeah,
like he laid that ground. She didn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand why Tatiana's in the picture at all, because based on their situation, it seems like they're married, but I don't see a very loving bond between them. He's allowing her to step out of the marriage. And then it's like, well, he told her he didn't want her to work. But then he complains that, she's not trying to earn any money for herself. So I'm like, what is the point of this relationship? Like, what does she actually bring to the table that's keeping him married, besides the fact that it would
social
look,
climate.
That's
I
right.
would say
I
besides
think it's the look. I
It's the
think it's
look.
the
but
look.
is she really that big of a look? Like, can't he find somebody else to fill that role? Because it seems like she doesn't bring much to the table besides the look.
Yeah, I do. I think they probably whatever
Floats their boat, but
whatever facade they trying to put on for the congregation. That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
I think she might be one of these trophy wives for him, and then I think maybe both of them are social climbers because he's trying to be, the prosperity message, and yeah.
look, all the glitters ain't gold.
I know it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. They both deserve their hands, but Tatiana really, yeah.
And she's not gold. And all the glitters ain't gold. And she ain't gold. So I think you can do better than that. I don't know if he has any control over her, actually. I mean, with that, that conversation they had, it didn't appear to me he had much control over her.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was almost rather, well, not almost, it was rather condescending. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of relationship they have. But she was quite emasculating to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I got my eye on them, but they both can get the hands, like he said. Somebody I want to give the game ball to, which I know we haven't really gotten to that point, but I just want to mention it right up front. Vic, I was really proud of Vic this episode for, taking responsibility over his life and his circumstances. He stepped down from his role, and he was very blunt about his mental health suffering because of the situation. He's worried about being falsely accused of that murder. He's worried about his standing in the public and how he kind of like was easily swayed and able to be kind of bribed into that situation with the cops and changing his stance on that. And he's also suffering because his relationship has diminished. So he really stood up for himself. He took control of his mental health, and he went and fought to get Fatima back, which I was like, okay, Vince, like, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you really take control over your situation and try to start from scratch. And Quincy was really trying very hard to keep him in the role, which I was like, that can never be a good thing when you forcibly have somebody in a position that they don't want to be in at that point in time.
Well, I can understand Quincy. I mean, and to some degree, I was rather questioning whether it was actually a good time to step down or just get help. I think with Fatima coming back, that is a great help for him because he had true love for her. So Fatima, accepting him back, it's going to be a now what do I do? Because you now you step down from your position, and now what are we going to do? I mean, I
said he just wanted a leave of absence.
Well, how do you do that as a city head? How do you just have a leave?
No, Duda did it.
Duda will do anything, but it's just it's interesting how that played out. And now Quincy was being on the selfish side.
I was gonna say that too. He's worried about his job.
He's worried about his job, at which I mean you can't blame him for that.
Right.
And the whole thing with Fatima comes with the caveat too, because she told him that she would come back under the circumstances that he doesn't put work first before her, and he also had to cut ties with Duda. So some of those things are gonna be harder said than done.
1 out of 2 ain't bad. So he's got plenty of time on his hands now. So whether he cuts Duda back or not, we'll have to see. But it's rough times in the Shy. So
it is. And it seems like it's gonna get a little bit worse because I'm thinking about that conversation that Shad and Alicia had, because Duda's still not in the clear there. And Shad was kind of questioning her about Alonzo and like, well, how do you feel about the situation? And she was like, I'd rather do something about it versus talk about it. And I was like, oh, so Alicia is really wanting all the smoke. That's why this calm before the storm message is kind of like ringing true in my head right now, because I'm like, this really is the calm, because Alicia got something up her sleeve.
Which is why I said earlier when we were having that conversation, if there was anybody you needed to send a message to, that would have been Alicia, because she's the one you need to be most worried
about. And I think he is. That's why he's trying to pressure Emmett to get rid of her. But yeah, I was tripping off of how booed up the way Shad
Yeah.
and Alicia were all booed up. Listen to Anita Baker. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, y'all.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how Alicia deals. I can see her being a very formidable opponent versus Duda. He's gonna have to watch his back. And you know, I seen Alicia making some other business moves because after she smoked with Tiff, she was kind of like, oh, well, I'm gonna be a silent partner.
I wanted to
She
get
warmed up to Tiff quite a bit this
that's
episode.
right.
I was like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, this relationship, I'm like, okay, now where'd this come from? But hey, not a bad move. In fact, I like it. I mean, Alicia can do a lot for their expanding.
She even tried the product now, so she can stand behind it.
Yes, indeed. So she can do a lot for them.
Yeah.
She seemed like she was really bonding with Tiff, telling her stuff like how to interact with Rob and everything, and they was in there cooking together and stuff, and it just seemed like she like, okay, I said she was warming up to her.
You know what? Speaking of Rob, you know what? I kind of know how this brother felt.
I was about to say it's not Thanksgiving if they don't send you out on 10-20 store runs.
I think I remember something very similar to that with me. You go to the store, think you got something, you got to go back several times, and like you said, I just wanted to smoke weed and chill.
And eat. Right.
Yeah.
I did feel for him. I felt for him.
Me too. I'm like, I know it's a holiday, but I'm like, is Instacart up on holidays? Tell somebody to get it. Because y'all ain't about to be around.
I'm sorry. I ain't going back to the store. I'm sorry. I'm not. No.
Yeah, I'm calling Uber Eats. Come on. I mean.
Yeah. I'm not going back to the store.
Yeah, so I just thought that was a really cute moment. But I think Tiff's alliance with Rob's mom is definitely a good one for her. It's a good move to have Alicia in her on her team, especially if they need to get Nook out of their pocket. I think that Nook is going to have to give up that side deal to Duda. And so the fact that Duda is going to be in their pocket, they're going to need Alicia to kind of counteract that whole hostile situation because they don't really have enough muscle on their own.
Actually, though, contraire, mon frere, let me say this: with Alicia being in the business now, Duda ain't touching it because
that's what I'm saying.
He knows he can't do anything with Alicia in there, so that's actually protection.
He doesn't know Alicia's in there, but once he finds out,
once he dips his toe in and it gets bitten off, he'll understand. So yeah, let him come at Nook or anybody else in that business once she's in there good. Because once she's in, she's in.
Duda got a lot of enemies, and I think that Alicia and Nook are the most formidable opponents to Duda right now. Now, if we talk a little bit about this whole Emmett situation with his brother, Damien. So Damien, it was interesting to find out that he slept with this guy's fiance or whoever. So I'm like, that was kind of grimy because Damien was presented as this good boy by Darnell, and then we finding out all these details that he a little grimy dude already did his bid for him, and then you turn around and sleep with his woman while he doing the bid for you.
I was like, wow.
Well, wait a minute now. She slept with him too.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, you could show a little gratitude and not sleep with him.
It's like he said. Damien already said to him. He said, "Why you mad at me because you got caught and I didn't?"
Right. I mean, but that's just rubbing it in. Like
it is. And listen, and I'm speaking of rubbing it in and just going too far. Once again, Darnell. Not only is Darnell inviting everybody to work at Emmett's restaurant, now he invited Damien and them to the dinner. Like I was just like, you doing too much, Darnell. I understand blended family and stuff, but I'm like, you are
pushing it.
He's really pushing it. Work, home, all of that. Like you don't just invite people.
But I think he wants both his sons to get together and
the more he forces it, though, the more they gonna pull apart. Like Emmett really is not feeling that. Like, give me some work-life balance.
Listen,
you got him working with me. You got him coming into my house for dinner.
and
You
it's
got
cool.
just throwing them in my face.
But Emmett's not feeling anybody. He didn't want Nook to show up at the Thanksgiving thing. So
okay, listen, I feel like this with the Keisha that I understood Keisha. However, I think that Keisha should have talked to Emmett first before she invited him. So I was like, wow, she just invited him and she didn't ask her partner first. So I get it, like co-parenting and stuff like that. Hey, I get it. But then you have a significant other, a partner and everything. She should have ran it by him and been like, hey, I'm thinking about inviting him to the I think she should have, checked in before she invited him.
I second that.
I agree. But you know what? Put a ring on it. Make it legal.
I think that Keisha, she definitely has been a little selfish sometimes. She has not always considered Emmett, and especially, all of this stuff that they are in with Duda. I feel like she was very happy with the new house, the new car, everything. Like, she was willing to accept all the benefits, but now that it's, hot in the kitchen, she's trying to bail. Like, she's really not showing that same support that I think Emmett needs. And she's right to be critical of him because he did make some bad judgment calls. But at the same time, like, you have to be considerate, like you said, of your mate in all aspects of life. Like, sure, he has all of this heat coming from him, from Duda, but then, like, just try to make his load a little bit lighter by being considerate of him, and especially in dealing with Nook, because Nook is very close to Duda. And so you inviting that hostility into my home, onto like holidays and stuff, where I'm trying to spend time with not just my child, with Tiff, but all of my children. This is a whole family situation, and Nook might not need to know all of his personal details. Like, you're gonna be putting eyes on all my kids. That means that you have information that you could use against me if things continue to go a certain way with Duda. So I think that I don't know. I'm giving Keisha the hand. Sorry.
No. I think she deserved it for that. I do. I think she should have considered her mate before asking him. So I'm with you on that. I think but I was happy to see their growth, because I was like, the fact that they were sitting down, together, like with Rob and Tiff and Keisha and Emmett, talking about who is going to host and whose house is going. I was like, wow, because for a minute, remember, there was a trouble between Tiff and Keisha because of the fact that she, the girl code, what we talked about. So the fact to see.
And also think about the fact that, Keisha was a little fragile with Emmett because of the circumstances that had gone on with Duda. Now you got this car explosion that could have killed her and the baby. I wonder now how she really is going to.
Oh, she's going to be ready to ditch that house. She's going to be ready
to dip. Yeah, she's going to be ready to dip, because that's about as close to dying as you can get.
Yeah, I could really see her picking up and moving out, because she was already about to move out early this season. So now I can really see her acting on it. Or either going to stay at Nina's house or something.
That's what I'm ready to say. And look, Nina ain't there. She'll be there with Lene. Take the baby.
They got room.
Yeah. So it really is a lot of stuff going on this episode that's setting us up for season finale and stuff like that. I'm like, it seems like they got a lot of material to really go out with a bang if they want to. So I know we talked a lot about who can get the hands. We said that Keisha get the hands. Darnell can definitely get the hands. Duda can get the hands.
Always.
Anybody else y'all willing to put on the hands list?
Damien. Damien can
get the hands, because I'm like, okay, you've been tripping clearly, but what's it called? He has a right to have animosity, but he tripping too, talking about he need money off of Emmett's books. So he's tripping too. So I don't know.
So he can get the hands too.
Get the hands for that.
Tatiana.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Tatiana she definitely deserves to be on the list for hands.
I'm willing to give Serena the hands.
Yeah, she was out of control, out of pocket. There's a whole lot of people that deserve the hands.
A lot.
Who
Roz
else?
can get the hands.
Roz, yes, because
Yeah.
she was the one that said send the message. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I mentioned game ball for Vic, but if y'all have any game ball nominees,
You said game ball for who?
Vic.
Vic.
Vic? Vic?
Yes, taking care of his mental health and going back and getting Fatima.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He said, okay.
I mean, he's the only one that I can see that. I mean, Professor Gardner is always.
Yeah. I think so too. He's for being a positive influence for Bakari. Definitely Professor Gardner.
Yeah, I just think Vic had a meltdown, and I'm not sure. But if you want to give him the hand, I mean, this meltdown. Though. Look, Vic has to take also responsibility for what he actually did. He did help Duda in disposing of that body.
Forcibly.
Under duress.
Well,
under duress.
Yeah, well, yeah, I get it, but
Ron ain't feeling my nomination.
right.
No, I'm good. I just that meltdown, because when he was explaining how he felt, I almost went to jail for something I didn't do.
Well, he didn't.
But he didn't murder him.
He didn't.
But what is it? If you are
accessory,
an accessory to that, you are an accessory to the crime because you buried the body. Now, would you have, would it have made sense for you to go to the police and say something? But the fact that you didn't, theoretically, you might as well have pulled the trigger.
Accessory, yeah.
Well,
yeah, but ain't nobody doing that. I mean, because before he became a councilman and stuff, he was a street dude, and in that code, he's not going to snitch. He's not going to go to the cops. So
never mind the fact that he went against the cops to defund them, so they wouldn't have viewed him favorably anyway if he came honest.
Well, that's probably, but well, then again, I don't know. I don't know how to handle that. That's why I'm backing off. If you want to give him the game ball, I'll shine it up for you, and we can just give him the game ball. But hey,
okay, well, maybe we'll have some better game balls for next week then.
Because it seemed like the whole Shy cast got the hands this week.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's a lot of mess. So, but I did enjoy the episode though. Like I said, I think it's a good setup for the finale. So looking forward to that. Please, our viewers out there, go down in the comment section and give us your thoughts about this episode as well as your predictions for the finale. And thank you again for watching. Obviously, you guys continue to support and show love to this channel. So we definitely appreciate that. Make sure that you follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're pretty much on every major social platform. So follow us at The Spot Real Talk. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, like the video, and click that thumbs up notification because we got some stuff up our sleeve and you're not going to want to miss it. We always got something up our sleeve. So, I mean, that notification bell becomes very important, making sure you don't miss out. Also, let your friends and family know. Tune into the to the Shy, tune into the Shy, but also tune into the Spot Real Talk.
And don't be shy about it either.
Exactly. So we appreciate all the love you guys have shown. Please make sure you check out our interviews playlist if you haven't already, because we got a lot of great content in there, especially as it pertains to the Shy. So. We got some other stuff coming too. Like I said, you ain't gonna want to miss out. So stay tapped in with us. Ron, Tiff, you guys got anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, well, on that note, we're gonna call it a night. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
She said we better off as best friends. Ooh, what's the best friend? Can you let me know what it mean to be a